Here is an explanation for the answer to final exam, question number 7, in Alternative Energy Demystified, 2nd edition. If you have the printed book, you'll find it on page 311. We're talking here about a residential wind turbine, a medium-sized residential wind turbine in a moderate breeze. How much power can we expect to get out of one of these things typically? Well, what I've shown here is an example of something called an interactive or Grid-Intertie wind power system for residential use. What you have here is that the wind turbine provides the power to an inverter, and the power directing circuits supply the power to your house and also back to the electric utility. If you are able to generate enough power with this wind turbine, you can significantly offset, or maybe even completely offset, the power that you consume from the utility. And in some states, they will allow you to sell that power back and reduce your electric bill accordingly. I have in mind actually setting up a project something like this in Wyoming, which does have a buyback program and also plenty of wind. Wyoming has plenty of wind. Well, in a moderate breeze, how much power can you expect a medium-sized residential wind turbine to produce? And then we're given the equivalents for answers. We're not given an actual number, but typically you can expect to get somewhere in the vicinity of 12 kilowatts of power in a moderate breeze from one of these wind turbines. It varies, depending on the size. Some of them will produce as much as 20 kilowatts, others only 5 or 6 kilowatts. But if you have a medium-sized one and there's a moderate breeze, say 10, 15, maybe 20 miles an hour, or 10, 15, or 20 knots if you're into nautical, well, the knots would be a little less. Well, be that as it may, 18 knots, okay? You can expect to get 12 kilowatts of power roughly from one of these things. The correct answer to this question is choice A. That is about the equivalent of 8 electric space heaters running full blast. At least the space heaters that I have used typically use 1.5 kilowatts. So if you divide 12 kilowatts by 1.5 kilowatts, you get 8 space heaters running full blast. Well, if you have a small house, you might actually be able to use electric heat with your house. And in Wyoming, where there's a moderate breeze at least almost all the time, you could heat your house for free. Although with a Grid-Intertie system like this, you would have to depend upon the utility in order for this system to function. If the utility goes down in a Grid-Intertie or interactive system like this, this whole system will stop working. Again, though, the correct answer is A, about the equivalent of 8 electric space heaters running full blast.